Holocaust denial. Antisemitism, genocide justification, and Holocaust denial are each illegal in some jurisdictions, but not in America. Should they be? To understand why that is, let's look at what those words mean. The biggest insult to the memory of the Holocaust is not denying it, but using it as an excuse to commit genocide against the Palestinian people, said Norman Finkelstein. In so doing, repeating that trope that the Holocaust refers to one specific incident. Holocaust is one of those loaded words, like genocide. Its very mention triggers a predetermined behavioral pattern with intent, an association with events that are not specific to the etymology of the word Holocaust, a reaction that most people who hear this word will automatically assume its meaning to be. The word Holocaust originates from Old French, holokauste, via late Latin from Greek, holokauston, from holos, whole, and kaftos, burnt, from kaien, burn. The word Holocaust was first used in English in 1833 by journalist Leech Ritchie to describe the wars of Louis VII of France. The noun Holocaust means destruction or slaughter on a mass scale, especially caused by fire or nuclear war, for example, a nuclear holocaust. Curiously for lexicographers, when you type the word Holocaust into Google, or even raise it in conversation, the word appears to reference only one event. The Holocaust is the systematic state-sponsored killing of 6 million Jewish men, women, and children. Not the systematic state-sponsored killing of many Jewish men, women, and children, or even the systematic state-sponsored killing of millions of Jewish men, women, and children. Fall foul of this numerical distinction by asking how we know it was exactly 6 million, and in 17 jurisdictions you may find yourself in jail. Holocaust, the word, has been appropriated by a political ideology and designated to enforce a very specific legal function. By assigning a word that is hundreds of years old to one specific event from less than 100 years ago, and then using that premise to enforce an exact and inflexible numeric value to this Zionized meaning of the word, the opportunity to examine how we arrive at this number of exactly 6 million is ended. The political ideology behind this word appropriation has manipulated legal process to criminalize any investigation into their intention, passing laws to make Holocaust denial and any expression of genocide justification illegal. If Chuck Schumer gets his way in American law, then anti-Semitism will add a third layer of criminality to indemnify Zionist behaviors. Schumer's bill will change the way we are able to comment on genocide. For Schumer, as for fellow Zionist Biden, refuting genocide is key to plausible deniability in war crimes court. What is the intention behind these laws that appear at odds with freedom of speech? Although genocides have been perpetrated throughout our history, for the majority who learn the word genocide, genocide applies to one specific event only, the Holocaust. But hold on, which Holocaust? The majority understand the Holocaust means the genocide of the Jews by the anti-Semites. Genocide and Holocaust are two words that the majority of history students today learn as being one event that happened to one race of people. In the racist practice of another word that has been weaponized deceptively for the same purpose as those two, that is, anti-Semitism. So let's agree the terminology behind the two laws relating to Holocaust denial and any expression of genocide justification. Anti-Semitism caused the Holocaust, which is the genocide of Jews, by the anti-Semites. Any inquisitive counter-narrative can find you in jail. This word, anti-Semite, is a reference to Semitic people. Like Holocaust and genocide, Semitic provenance means something very different to the context the majority understand the word to mean. That is, an anti-Semite is someone displaying prejudice against Jewish people. There is a reason for this deception, this weaponizing of words to a propagandizing methodology. The reason is Zionism, an ideology that has mastered appropriating a few chosen words for a specific political intention, then used the outcome of that indoctrinating process, loading words with a trigger narrative that assumes convenient conjecture as fact to pass laws based on the misdirection these words enable. What do these three words actually mean? Why did their meaning change from what the dictionary has for so long associated with these words? Between 1941 and 1945, the fascist Nazi leader class convinced a dumbed-down religious conservative nationalist worker class to perpetrate a genocide, a final solution in which they starved millions and killed millions in large-scale industrialized genocide. Although many people, including women and children, died in this Holocaust, the Zionist movement specified a precise number of Jews, 6 million, as the victims of a Holocaust. Any efforts by historians or even the moderately curious to validate how this precise number are the exclusive beneficiaries of legislation protecting any conversation could end in a jail sentence. This limits the conversation in many ways, most significantly for those many victims of the Nazi genocide who were not Jewish, but also for scholarly research. Why should any law exist solely for the purpose of blocking scientific forensic research into historical events? Let's consider both these issues in a multiple choice question context. What do the majority think, and how does that differ from the facts? Number 1. Who did the Nazis genocide? Was it A, homosexuals, special needs children, communists, gypsies, rapists, Slavic people, black people, Jehovah's Witnesses, political opponents who contested the Aryan version of a white supremacist master race, or B, 6 million Jews? Number 2, what is the Holocaust? Is it A, an old Greek word that described catastrophic events that included fire in which masses died? Or B, when the Nazis genocided 6 million Jews? Number 3, what is an anti-Semite? Is it A, someone who shows prejudice against a descendant from the 3 tribes of Abraham, whose Semitic languages dating back to the Abrahamic period in the Middle East identifies them as Semitic, like all those original Arab tribes of Abrahamic origin? Or B, a gang of people who attack Jews? Or C, someone of Khazarian and East European origin, Ashkenazim with little or no Semitic provenance, who converted to Judaism, who then attack Arab Semites of actual Semitic provenance, while at the same time claiming their anti-Semitism is not anti-Semitism, because they have the right to kill whichever Semites they choose to defend their incontestable claims to being Semites. Although physically the majority appear uncannily similar to Europeans, are very clearly not of Arab descent from the Abrahamic tribal period. The vast majority of people who understand these 3 words, Holocaust, genocide, and anti-Semitism, answer B each time. This is because of a job well done by the Zionist influencers who cross-fertilized educational opportunism with legal deviance. Once you have a popular opinion believing these powerful words victimized one specific race only, a race who happen to be the chosen few, then you can prevent any further investigation into how and why they performed this appropriation of words and concepts by passing laws. That's where criminalizing Holocaust denial, anti-Semitism, and genocide justification becomes a double-edged sword. What happens when the anti-Semite genocide-justifying Holocaust-denying president is not the straight shooter you thought you voted for? What if the ironclad lifelong Zionists claiming anti-Semitism are themselves now falling foul of the laws they argued so hard for? Committing genocide, then denying it, is the very definition of Holocaust denial. After World War II, those three words were applied relentlessly on world opinion, especially at the United Nations. After seeing those harrowing, horrifying images of skeletal concentration camp victims, who wouldn't feel sorry for a race so terribly persecuted by anti-Semitism that they were genocided in the Holocaust? 6 million Jews genocided in the Holocaust by the anti-Semites. In 1947, the extent of this weaponized sympathy was so real, the United Nations voted to allow the persecuted Zionist victims of the Holocaust to have the homeland they demanded, a place where they could defend against such a thing ever happening again. The State of Israel was born from that wave of global sympathy led by extraordinarily overfunded lobby groups at the United Nations, and despite the UK objecting vocally to a terrorist gang who they designated as terrorists being given statehood. The 1947 United Nations Partitions Plan set events in motion that created the State of Israel. Yet the United Nations had no legal precedent with which to give away another people's land. This extraordinary lobbying replayed those words endlessly: anti-Semitism, Holocaust, genocide, until, like a magic trick, the United Nations passed the motion. President Truman later noted, "The facts were that not only were there pressure movements around the United Nations unlike anything that had been seen before, but that the White House, too, was subjected to a constant barrage. I do not think I ever had as much pressure and propaganda aimed at the White House as I had in this instance. The persistence of a few of the extreme Zionist leaders, actuated by political motives and engaging in political threats, disturbed and annoyed me." Once the United Nations Partitions Plan was granted, the Zionists were up and running, with their weaponized, monetized use of keywords to cover up the illegality of their actions. Illegality they protected by legislation that would provide immunity from accountability for terrorist atrocity. As historians investigating the details of the Holocaust would soon find out, questioning the authenticity of the Jewish claim to being targets of anti-Semitic genocide in the Holocaust might find you in jail. Those who questioned the exact number of 6 million Jews being genocided in the Holocaust faced lengthy jail terms. The fixed narrative of 6 million Jews were genocided in the Holocaust was written in stone. To question it could only mean you were an anti-Semite, and from that slippery gateway to Holocaust denial and any expression of genocide justification. Historical author and conservative British whack job David Irvine and others tested the law. Using scientific calculation, some speculated by calculating the amount of floor space in the ovens, the maximum number of people per oven, the minimum amount of time it would take to clear out one oven before refilling it with other victims of genocide. They then crunched the numbers to arrive at a maximum number that might realistically have been killed in these ovens, in that amount of time. When this number was not the 6 million the law required it to be, the opportunity to fact-check the Zionist claim was over. Try that again and you'll go to jail. In 2005, Irving was arrested in Austria. He was charged by state prosecutors with the speech crime of trivializing the Holocaust. In Austria, Holocaust denial law says it is a crime if a person denies, grossly trivializes, approves, or seeks to justify the National Socialist genocide or other National Socialist crimes against humanity. His application for bail was denied on the grounds that he would flee or repeat the offense. Irving remained in Austrian jail awaiting trial for 3 months. In his 2006 trial, Irving pleaded guilty to the charge of trivializing, grossly playing down, and denying the Holocaust. In essence, his offense was saying the figure of 6 million killed Jews is just a symbolic number. At the end of this one-day hearing, Irving was sentenced to 3 years' imprisonment in accordance with the Austrian federal law on the prohibition of National Socialist activities, officially Prohibition Statute, for having denied the existence of gas chambers in Nazi concentration camps in several lectures he held in Austria in 1989. Irving said there were no gas chambers at Auschwitz and it makes no sense to transport people from Amsterdam, Vienna and Brussels 500 kilometers to Auschwitz simply to liquidate them when it can be more easily done 8 kilometers from the city where they live. Irving sat motionless as the judge asked if he had understood the 3-year sentence, to which Irving replied, "I'm not sure I do." Eventually, on appeal, Irving's sentence was cut by 2/3 and he was released for time served. Opponents of Irving's imprisonment argue that free speech should be applied to everyone regardless of their viewpoints and that it is a slippery slope to imprison someone due to the lack of factual accuracy or unpopularity of their opinions. The important question is not whether Irving is a typical British conservative whack job presenting opinions as facts, or whether he offends people with what he says, but why anyone, anywhere should be imprisoned for expressing dissenting views or saying offensive things. Today, you may be imprisoned or fined for dissenting from the accepted Holocaust history in the following countries: Australia, Austria, Belgium, Canada, Czech Republic, France, Germany, Israel, Lithuania, New Zealand, Poland, Romania, Slovakia, and Switzerland, but not the USA. This is because lawyers in the US would have a field day if leaders could be prosecuted for any expression of genocide justification or Holocaust denial. And when the anti-Semitism charge Zionists have depended on to warrant their right to defense discovered that the Palestinians were the Semites, not entitled to their right of defense, while the Ashkenazim are not really Semites at all. Leaders have repeatedly used anti-Semitism to justify America's ironclad support for genocide and Holocaust by American bomb. That then places the interpretation of what is a Semite to the fore. Many countries also have broader laws that criminalize genocide denial as a whole, including that of the Holocaust. Those countries that have banned Holocaust denial, including Austria, France, Germany, Hungary, occupied Palestine, Poland, Romania, Russia, and Ukraine, have also banned Nazi symbols, but not the United States. You can wave your swastika free from any fear of arrest in the USA. Often, these swastikas appear on the other side of a Trump flag. Is a Trump flag paired with a swastika a Nazi symbol? Is Trump's ideology consistent with Nazism? It's a good thing he's president, able to ensure no laws banning Nazi symbols, aiding genocide, or Holocaust denial come into effect. Should any expression of genocide justification also be a criminal offense in the USA? This question occupied many hours at the Nuremberg trials. The American lawyers realized what would happen if this law was passed in which nations could be charged with genocide as opposed to individuals. The outcome at Nuremberg, the Nuremberg Protocol that governs international criminal law, very sensibly excluded the national liability, preferring instead to target individuals from the leader class for trial and sentencing as war criminals. Legislation against Holocaust denial and genocide justification has been proposed in many countries that do not have it in place, including the United States and the United Kingdom. However, the proposal and implementation of these laws has been criticized and met with vigorous opposition, including from a variety of civil human rights activists, who contend that the outlawing of these acts would violate people's established rights for freedom of speech. Clearly, for the United States and the UK to make any expression of genocide justification a criminal offence would criminalise the entire government overnight, as surely as Holocaust denial becoming illegal would. Organizations representing the groups that were victimized during the Holocaust have generally been split in their opinions about anti-Nazi legislation, including that which deals with the legality of Holocaust denial. The reason the United States does not follow other Zionist countries in making any expression of genocide justification a criminal offense is clear. The multiple choice explanation is black and white. 1. Is the United States sending more explosives to drop on a civilian population than every previous war combined in total tonnage? Amounts totaling hundreds of billions in state-of-the-art tools for genocide? Yes or no? 2. Is the starvation of the incarcerated population in Palestine, a number near 6 million people, paired with the carpet bombing of the displaced starving refugees, genocide? Yes or no? 3. Does the US leader class, the Harris-Trump two parties that are one who contested the election, intend standing ironclad behind the ongoing commitment to commit genocide? Yes or no? 4. Did 99% of American voters vote for the two parties whose intention is clearly defined by their commitment to stand by their right to genocide? Yes or no? If the answer to these four choices is yes, then it is just as well that the United States do not have laws making Holocaust denial and any expression of genocide justification illegal. 99% of American voters voted for a leader class who are 99% committed to genocide justification by 100% commitment to Holocaust denial. Biden absolutely refutes that the US is doing anything illegal. Trump, on the other hand, doesn't know what refute means, or the etymology of Holocaust, genocide, or anti-Semitism. But he knows the art of the Nazi deal, and he knows exactly what his base like most. That's why 99% of Holocaust-denying Americans voted for genocide. Biden was right. It's not illegal in the United States.